Welcome to Celebrating Act Two, where John Coleman and I are speaking to the virtual gourmet, John Mariani.
Hey, John, you're looking very good. I understand you're about to go on a trip, and
Yes.
that relates to an article that you did in the Virtual Gourmet, which is, of course, your free newsletter, weekly newsletter, excellent newsletter.
Yep.
Everybody should get it at johnmariani.com.
Free.
But the article was how not to look like a tourist. And I wanted to know, since you travel so much and you're a professional traveler in a sense, you don't look like a tourist when you're there, or do you? Do you mind being a tourist?
Well, I am. I don't speak 10 different languages. I only speak two languages well, and I'm not going to try and embarrass myself if I cannot. But I can speak a little Italian, I can speak a little French, and I will try, which the Italians appreciate and the French laugh at. So you may want to consider that. So bring those, if you're going to bring those little those little applications on your iPhone that allows you to ask in English, where is the post office? And then immediately says, "Vo esti posto?" "Dove è la postino?" So, I mean, that's been a great advance right then and there because it really does help. Um, but there are a couple of aspects, two or three aspects. First is dressing accordingly and what not to dress. If you want to be spotted as a tourist, because it can be a little embarrassing. Now, tourism being what it is, everybody in Europe at the moment, before these tariffs go into effect, are extremely happy to see Americans and have adapted to us. They may roll their eyes on occasion, but I just find that service, by and large, whether it's in Austria or whether it's in Taiwan, it doesn't much matter. People are really good within the service industry. So you're not going to get the like that snobism. Remember the I Love Lucy when the Ricardos go to
Oh,
Paris
yeah.
and
Yeah.
he orders snails, not knowing what they are, and they don't smell very well. And the waiter comes over and hands her tongs, with which you're supposed to pick up the escargot, and she don't know what it's for. She puts it on her nose. Well, you
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
want to do that sort of thing. But there are other aspects. As for dressing, well, um, these days, t-shirts, sweatpants are worn just about as much by Europeans as they are by Americans who are over there. It depends on the t-shirt these days. Europe feeling the way it does, and Canada, I would not wear a MAGA hat or a MAGA t-shirt. It would be very foolhardy, no kidding. They are angry, not at Americans, but they don't like whom and what's going on. The second thing is the classic look, which was adopted 365 days a year by what's his name, the conservative guy with the little tweed bow tie. What's his name? Tucker Carlson, which is tan chinos, blue blazer, button-down shirt, and well, nobody wears a bow tie and a rip tie. I mean, that just marks you right away. Oh, that's an American. It's not the word. I wear that kind of clothes all the time. I try not to wear it over there. Okay, over there, it's not that they're more formal, but you're not going to find too many restaurants above the trattoria level where you're going to get a pizza where Italians are wearing just a t-shirt, flip-flops, and cargo pants. I mean, you might find it at the pizzeria, but it's unlikely. Or if it's very warm weather on the Riviera by the beach, okay? But you just have to be a little bit more adaptable and respect people. They don't like wearing baseball caps in restaurants or hotel lobbies, especially if they're backwards. I mean, they just mark you as a patsy, you know. Um, Loudness. The rest of the world, with the exception of in Asia and China, the rest of the world doesn't speak at this level. Those Mets are playing the Yankees tomorrow. Who do you like, Coleman? Well, that's the way Americans speak. And the women, did you see what she was wearing? I'm sorry, but that's the way Americans talk, whether that at the Trevi Fountain or going up the Eiffel Tower. Wow, this is tall. Really, calm it down, and especially at restaurants where you don't want people looking what were you saying? Why are they speaking so loud? That's another. Okay, next, learn some of the etiquette. And I don't pretend. One of the reasons I'm going to Croatia is specifically to learn Croatian etiquette, about which I know nothing, except it is an Eastern European, Middle Eastern country, and they speak oodles of English, from what I'm told. I will not have any problem making myself heard. I don't exactly know how their table manners might differ from others. How do they drink a beer or order a wine? I don't speak Croatian, so I'm going to need help. And again, it's a question of how you ask for it. What's this? Not, what's this? Well, what am I supposed to do with it? That's not the way you are. You just could think of yourself as a super mannerly person, and they will respond back to you in that respect. There are certain idiosyncrasies in various countries. For instance, you do not tip in a pub in England. That's considered a no-no. In France, you may pick up your asparagus with your fingers or your French fries, but no meats, no fried chicken, no spare ribs, that type of thing. In Italy, it is considered anathema to drink cappuccino after noontime. That's a morning drink. That's a breakfast drink. These are things you can pick up. Any good guide is going to tell you about them. Tipping is a dead giveaway. You have to learn that in most countries of the world, with several exceptions, that you do not have to tip at all. In Japan, it's considered something of an insult. They said, we are doing a good job. We are proud of our job. We make a good living. The same applies in Europe, where there is, except in England, there is a service charge built into your meal. So if you pay, let's say, 50 euros for steak with French fries and a glass of wine, there's a service charge already built into that 50 euros. So you do not have to tip accordingly. Now, there's a thing called the pourboire, which is if you have a couple of coins, i.e., a single euro or 50 cents euro, if you want to leave that on the table, that's fine. In England, some places have been adding a 12% service charge in addition to what you're paying for the food. And consequently, you don't have to lead anything further. If you want to be marked as an American, leave another 15 or 20% on the bill. They love it. They don't mind it, but it tells you right away that you are gauche. And by the way, know what the word gauche means, which is tasteless. So those are some of the tips, but bring a guidebook and read up on the etiquette and be a good American, kind, gentle, courteous.
John,
You know,
I've heard that particularly in Europe, you don't necessarily have to speak their language because English is so prevalent, but it's appreciated if you attempt to say something in their language. It's like like I'm trying to be a good guest. Is that true, or?
The French kind of roll their eyes when you do. They don't think this is cute. See, if a Frenchman were, excuse me, if the Frenchman was in New York or California and said, "Pardon, Monsieur, I do not know where the beach is," especially if she's a 19-year-old girl, you're going to find that terrific. Even if a British guy says, "Excuse me, old chap, I'm looking for the best restaurant around here," you find that just sound like Michael Caine. They don't find our American accent. Parlez-vous anglais? They don't care for that. But if you speak a moderate amount of French, just like you and I learned in high school, écoutez et répétez, you might want to take a crack at it.
so I think that the question was how not to look like a tourist. The truth of the matter is that unless you speak the language natively, or that you are a resident and you're working there, or you're a business person and you're in a formal attire, you're going to be a foreigner, whether or not you're a tourist or you're there on business. So the real thing is that don't be a jerk.
It's almost as simple as that, Art. Don't be a jerk. But there are certain things about the loudness of how you speak and how you dress that they don't particularly, they're not going to like you if you show up at a
Sure.
fine restaurant wearing a t-shirt and a baseball cap backwards like Adam Sandler. No, that's a good rule of thumb. Never act like Adam Sandler or dress like him.
Unless you are Adam Sandler, in which case you'll probably be embraced.
John, good advice. I appreciate that. And have a great trip.
Thank you.
For more on Celebrating Act Two, visit our webpage, follow us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and tell your friends. Celebrating Act Two is the user manual for the second half of your life.